Ranbir in Shamshera and Amir in Thugs of Hindustan. Both the movies are based in British Raj. They're both kind of rebels, they're both outlaws, and they're also a little atrangi in their own ways.
Yeah.
But they have different personalities, right? How did you help, how did you use costumes to make sure they don't look like the same kind of rebel?
Yes, yes. It's very interesting that yes, they are the British era in India, but one is beginning 19th century, one is a little mid to late 19th century. Both the stories are actually inspired very loosely from communities that were thriving in India at that point of time. In terms of Hindustan, there were the Thuggis in India. In fact, they were very interesting clan of people. They would wrap this red cloth around their waist, which had rocks inside them, and they would go and attack people in the forest with those. They had a technique of attacking people Baratis who were passing through the forest or merchants who were traveling. So these Thuggis, they were actually the British were really troubled by them. So Amir's character is actually inspired from these Thuggis. So in a lot of ways, he's a con man, he's a thief, he's like a magpie who collects things. And in Shamshera, it is based very loosely on Sultana Daku's life, but it's not really true. It coincides with the Criminal Tribes Act of India at that point of time. And suddenly all the tribals became criminalized and they were put into these ghettos or these fortresses where they could not communicate with normal people. So Bali's character in Shamshera, Ranbir's character, there's a father and son. The son's character is also like a magpie, which is very interesting because he doesn't have access to the world that Firangi has. In Thugs, Firangi has access to the Britishers, to the rich. His conman skill makes him interact with people and take things from them. Bali is actually living in a fortress which has no resources. It's a ghetto, it's almost like a slum. So he actually picks things from places and he places it all over his clothes. So they both are magpie, but they're completely different because the places from where they're collecting their things come from different places. So Bali is inspired. He loves the police force. He wants to become a constable. He loves all these little things. He just dresses up like that and he keeps collecting. He teaches all the children to hide them in various places. While Firangi is a selfish soul person. He is not a Robin Hood. He is only doing it for himself. Whatever he collects, he puts in his outfit. So both of them, the reason one is a selfish one person and one is a person who has trained a community of children, and how they are collecting these things together and how they come on their body are completely different. And that's where we approached it from.
So I think this is a very, very amazing question. And I'm very surprised that till now nobody's asked us
Yes,
this.
it's so interesting.
When we were getting into the film from one to the other, we ourselves wanted to figure out that how are we going to make the characters look different. So, we have two-fold job. One is world building and credibility of the era. Second is to give a right vocabulary to the protagonist. And that's where the differentiation happened. The world was a little similar, but the difference was that Ranbir's character was minimalist and Amir's character was maximalist. Because Ranbir was coming from a world of oppression. He lived all his life in, like Manoshi said, in prison in a fortress. He made everything from scrap. And his style was minimalist. He just had the kurta and the gamcha and the dhoti. Amir's character, he created his brand from the chaos. Like Manushi said, he's a magpie. He collected everything. He's a conman, he's a trickster, he's a performance artist. So he used everything to perform, whether it was a top hat, which he covered with leather, whether it was a leather coat with the chantilly lace, whether it was a chatelaine, which was a beautiful piece that we created, which in our mind he had stolen from some Victorian lady and put it in his waist and hung his spoon, his binoculars, his beeswax, all the things that he used, he hung it there and he wore it. So, that was the one contrast that came in both the characters, the minimalism and the maximalism.
Amir in Thugs also reminds me of Jack Sparrow somehow.
Yes.
It looks like the Indian version of Jack Sparrow. And Ranbir in Shamshera in one of the songs is wearing this hat made of feathers.
Yes.
That's
a favorite song.
Yeah. And it's crow feathers, not even any other feathers. Yeah.
It is actually a shout out to the father that he's lost. And in, if you know, in Indian philosophy, it is believed that the crows are your ancestors.
Yeah.
So it is in it's a subtext that we have, that all the crow feathers are, even though he's such a crazy, fun loving, devil may care, he's a child. He, at that stage when you see this particular song, he is one with the children. His friends are his children. His crew is are the children, and he's performing that song also with these children. So he's almost like a court jester for them, and he's not grown into a man. And it is through the journey of the film that you see that arc where he becomes a man. But here he's a child, and the child is actually protected because he also doesn't know the truth about the reality of his father, and that he actually became shaheed. He has given up his life for a cause. He doesn't know that. He has blamed his father all his life. So it is actually a salute to his father, that all the crow feathers, the forefathers' feathers, are on a crown on his head.
Wow.
So very interesting how those little details are there for him.